Hello friends, this is Ganesh and video number 1. So in this video I'm going to start with OData session. We'll start very simple. What is OData? Why OData is required? What is the technical design of OData service? Then slowly we'll learn how the data is passing from the database table to OData service or through OData service and how it will reach the UI application. Okay, and we have several methods to retrieve the data from database and send it to OData and then UI application. So here I'm going to take care of only the OData service part. I'm not going to map these things in any Fury or UI application. So only the backend area I'm going to explain here. What is OData, how the data to be populated from OData based on the UI application, input, output data. So based on the UI input, and we need to get the information and send back the details to the UI application. So I'm going to taking care of that area. So no Fury or UI application is involved. Okay, so let's see what is OData, and the first video is very simple to understand what is OData. So there is no data fetch is going to happen over here, and we are going to see the technical design, how the OData is going to design for the business requirement. Okay, then slowly we'll see other areas as well. So the first part, let me open this. Yeah. So first we need to understand any new concept in SAP. This is my experience. So any new concept if comes, so try to map with the existing one. So obviously it's either it may be a similar kind of methodology or functionality or technique which we already available in SAP, or it might be exactly same as enhanced version. Okay, for example, if you take CDS view, it's nothing but a view. Okay, it's my overview. It's like this is the normal view which is available in SC11. What is a view? It's going to combine different fields from different tables and send it to the data, consolidated data or different data from tables to the program, or it's going to be displayed in the maintenance view kind of. Okay, and what is CDS view? CDS view is also going to be do in the same manner, combine the data from different views or different database tables, and is going to provide the data to a UI application, but the consumption is different between view and CDS view. So the same way, if you take OData service, we have a concept called IDOC in SAP. So what is IDOC? I'm just talking about just an IDOC. Okay. So IDOC is a structure where it can transfer the data. It's a two-way communication. Either it may be an inbound IDOC or outbound IDOC. So you can receive the information from outside of SAP, or you can send the information to outside of the SAP world. So there are two options available in IDOC. So IDOC has a predefined structure. So you have a structure within a structure. You can send one data in a structure, or you can cardinality. So you can send more than one data in the particular structure, or we can say I forgot this terminology. Segments. Yeah, segments. Okay. So the same one segment you can send one data or multiple data. Okay. So we have a predefined, or you can customize the format as well. So we have a format to receive and send the information, means data between SAP and non-SAP systems, or SAP to SAP systems. So we have a structure called IDOC. So in that IDOC, the second stage is how the IDOC is getting filled. Okay, that is the second stage. First one is IDOC is a structure. Okay, and second stage is IDOC, how the informations or the data is going to fit into the particular structure of an IDOC. It may be a function module, it may be a custom program, or it may be a class and methods. These are different ways to populate the data based on the IDOC structure. And if you pass the IDOC structure, that is a different stage. The third stage is how it is getting communicated. So we have a lot of configurations involved, partner profile, and we have involved what is the inbound outbound category. Okay, so finally it will carry the data based on some specified format to the non-SAP or SAP system. Clear? The same way, we have another option or service called OData service. So OData service is also a format. Okay, so the same one, OData service is also a format. it has some set of structures, the same way how IDOC could be, the same way we have OData service as well. Okay, so that is going to communicate between SAP to non-SAP or SAP to SAP, mostly with the UI application. Okay, why it's mostly with the UI application is the output of the OData service is a XML format. So even if you send an XML format, it's very easy for the UI people to convert it into a JSON format or XLS format or TXT format. Whatever they want, they are able to convert it. So you don't want to you don't want to design a different OData for different formats. So it's very simple. Okay, so OData is nothing but a format. It can be communicate between two different systems. Like it may be input or it may be output also. It will receive the information, it will send the information also. The same way, the second stage is how the data is filling to the OData. You have the same options. You have RFC function modules, or you can have a CDS view. So those are the options in the second stage, how the data is going to be fit or fill to the OData service format. Okay, so stage 1 and stage 2. And stage 3 is how the UI application is reading the information, how we are receiving the information from the UI. So that is the third stage. Okay, so I hope you just understand what is OData. OData service is nothing but just a format, and we are going to design the format based on the business requirement. So I want a material header, material item, I want sales order header, sales order item. So based on the input also, I need to keep some model attributes to receive the information from the UI application, and I need to design OData for a FO service. So lot of options are available. Okay, so if you understand, this is just a structure or a pattern, and we are going to fill the information based on the business requirement. So it'll be very easy for you. Okay, so in this video I'm going to create an empty OData service, an activate it, and I'm going to activate some service on it. OData just converted that particular project into OData service, and I'm going to show you how the output would be for the OData which I created. That is for this particular video. Okay, and some terminologies we need to at least remember before getting to OData service. So we call it as gateway service. Probably you might aware of the word gateway or gateway service whenever you come across the option called OData. So here gateway service is the add-on or already enabled in all the ECC systems. So you can just go and check with the transaction SEGW, and this is another transaction to maintain your OData service. These are already available. And an information, in some clients we have a gateway server. I'm not talking about service, I'm talking about a server. How you have a ECC server, ECC system, and the same way you have a gateway server or gateway systems. Okay, so that way also we are able to create the OData service. I will show you a little later about it, but just an information. But we are going to use the service which is already available in the ECC system only. Okay, so first we are going to use this transaction SEGW. Here I'm going to create a project, steps to create an OData service. So first we have to create a project for it. Once it create, we need to create a model. Model is nothing but how you're going to, it's kind of structure I can say. So how you're going to receive the information, how you're going to send the information. Okay, so I'm going to receive 5 attributes like plant, material type, and the other 3, and based on that I need to send like 25 fields of values. It's kind of a multiple records to the UI application. Okay, so depend, this is a business requirement, so I need to design a model based on that. Okay, so that is a model. And runtime aircraft. A runtime aircraft is the place where it creates a custom class and methods. Actually, it's technically called as extension class, extension of the model provider class or data provider class. So these things are created automatically once you generate your OData service. So this is one of the place where you can start write your code, a piece of code to interact with your database table or using a function module or a BAPI to get the information and send the informations to your OData service. So that is called runtime aircraft. So these are just remember anyway I'm going to show how to create a OData service as well. Once the project is ready, that needs to be activated. Okay, or I can say create an activator. So for that it's a lengthy transaction. You have to use /iwfnd and /maintenance service transaction. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my service. Once you create an OData project, automatically, once you generate, automatically it creates a service for your project. So we need to find a service for my project. Normally it's the naming convention is the project underscore SRV. That is the naming convention of every service. So you need to find the service and you need to add the service in the particular transaction and you need to act toward it. So once you activate, that is well and good to execute your OData service. So once you execute it, it will display the format, display the information of your OData, how you design your OData model. Based on that, it will display in the XML format. So that it will create a URL as well. Once you activate it, it will create a URL. You have to share that particular URL to your UI application team. Then they will, through that, they will able to connect your OData service. Okay. So this is the simple way of creating a project and it converted into a service, and we are going to activate the particular service, and now the URL is ready, it can be accessed by UI application people. Okay, so we'll see one by one. Activate the service, systemalize. So we have to give for example, this is mostly useful whenever you have a different servers. I have a ECC server, I have a gateway server. All my OData is going to be in the gateway server. Then it's going to add a major role. But if it is an ECC, normally we just go with a local systemalize. And gateway client is nothing but it's going to be execute your URL, where you're going to see the URL of your service and execute the service. Once you execute, it will display the details of your OData in an XML format. Okay, so let me take you into the system. So might be this is my another rental provider. So the compared to my previous videos in CDSV on debugging, little quite different, but it's a good one because I got the new version of SAP ABAP, like what do you call the SAP above version is 7.6. So that will be also very useful for you to learn latest versions. So little different. It's look like all your GUIs looks little different over here, but functionality is mostly same. You can use SE80, SE 38, 25, everything is same, but as a version is a little different. So first I'm going to use the transaction SEGW. I'm going to create a OData service. Okay, I'm going to create a project for a OData. Okay, so let me go ahead and create it. So minus always CGI, GI OData, and this is my simple data. Okay, so package and go with local object if it is in your system. So I have to create any custom package. So that's created with some default folders. Okay, data model is created, service implementation, runtime, and service maintenance. Okay, so here under the data model, you have entity type, associate entity sets. Everything will discuss detailed in a following videos. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to generate my OData. So project, OData project, or just a project I'm going to generate it. Just click this option, generate runtime objects. So then you will get a pop-up window. So here two different classes you will create. One is model provider class, another one is data provider class. 80% we are going to deal with data provider class. Okay, so I'm going to receive the data, I'm going to send the data, I'm going to manipulate the data. So you go with the data provider class. Model provider class, only 20% because I want to do something with my model. Normally model we do go with the GUI and we are not going to write in the class level. So let's see how what you are going to write in the model provider class. So only 20%, even less than 20% only we are using model provider class. And here an option is data provider class is an optional. So you can just take the tick mark and you can click next, it will create. Without data product class, it will create only the model product class. Okay, so I just click it, yes, it will come. And the naming convention is automatically it will create. Normally this is a naming convention, ZCL and your project name underscore MPC ext, and the same thing, this is a base class, and here OData DPC ext. So this is model product class and this is data provider class. So forget about these things as of now. Let's create a register a model name and the service name. This is required. I mentioned, right? Activate your service. So while activating, you need this name. Otherwise, just a project, and you can put star and enter. It will take you your service name as well. Suppose if you want, you just make a note of it. This is a service you required in the next transaction to activate your service. Just click next. Save it. I go with local object. So my objects or project is getting generated with TPC and MPC class. All should be in green, at least in yellow, not in red. If it is a red, it will tell you very clearly what is the issue. Okay, I'll create some errors and explain you as well. So now this folder has the expand option because it has a class. DPC class, DPC extension, MPC class, MPC extension. This is my model, this is my service. Okay, done. Don't disturb anything now. Now I'm going to create a OData service for my project. Okay, so for that, I have the transaction. So this is the transaction. Okay, so slash is a little small one. So L WFND maintain underscore service. I just go with our slash n. Okay, so here I'm going to create add service button. So add service button and system analyze I mentioned, right? So it's normally it will use whenever you have a different server, but now I go with local, and here I'm going to type my project name. So sorry, service name. So just enter. I'm not sure about my service name. Just put your project name star. Yes, it comes here. Select it and click add selected services. Okay. Then it will ask the service name, what is the version, description, everything, and technical model name. Yeah, this is the model name you have seen over there, and the packages assignment is local object. Nothing over here. Just click next. Then it will say service name was created and its metadata was loaded successfully. So here this is very important. Very rare scenario you might get was created and metadata was not loaded successfully. There are some scenarios. Okay, so make sure this is your metadata was loaded successfully. Just click next. My service is added and activated. So now go back. Find the service, CGI start, enter. So there is only one service, okay, and the status should be green. So the ICF node is activated by default, so it will in the green status. And my system allies is a local system allies. Suppose if you have a different ECC, then here it shows okay ECC name. You have a trusted RFC connection or non-trusted RFC connection. We will see about that as well, and I'm going to execute it. This is a SAP gateway client, the place where you can execute your OData servers. So here you are receiving the URL, okay, URL for your OData servers. I'm going to execute it. We'll see how it's reflect. Yes, so 200 is a status code. It's been a green. So your OData service is perfect. You can share this information to your UI application team. Suppose if it is not a 200, it might be a 502, 500. There are some errored status code. It should, if it is an error, you can click error log. It will show detail what is happening in the backend. Sometimes there may be a runtime error. Okay, sometimes my OData service, I have a class, I return some code, it may be even to dump. Then it will come in this particular screen, you'll get a 500 screen error, I believe. Some error will come, I'm not sure about the status code, some error will come, it show backend that is some error. Just check with the backend system. Okay. So this is the simplest way to create the project and generate, you'll get a service, and how to activate your service, how to get a URL, and how to share with your UP your UI application team. Okay, now what I'm going to do is a simple way. Anyway, I'm going to explain this again for you. I'm going to create a model, okay, and an entity, and I'll show you how it reflects here. /SEGW. Go to your project, And where is mine? Here it is. GI and data model. Okay. So the next video I'll explain about types and sets. But for the time being, type is nothing but a structure. Okay. So I'm going to send 5 fields of material sales. You need to create a structure first. Okay. So I'm going to create a structure. So right click. Okay. Change 1 second. Yeah. Just double click. Okay, I'm in a display mode, I believe. Just click it. Yeah, by default, a display mode. Now I'm getting a value to create, append row. So I'm going to create an entity. You can create n number of entity type, depends on your business requirements. So 5 different structure. I want to send 5 different values to the UI application. So UI, one OData service, UI may requested 5 different data. So it depends on their input, you can give 5 different output, 5 different data to the UI application. So you don't need to create 5 different projects. So one project, but you are able to send 5 different data to the UI application. Okay. So here I'm going to create the first one as, okay, let me go with material structure. And suppose if you have a BAP structure, custom or standard, you can provide it over here. If not, just fine. Okay. So I'm not going to use these things now. I saved it. Okay. Yeah, some more. I just entered and saved it. Okay. So now you're able to see the expand button of your entity type. So one entity type is ready. Material structure is ready. It doesn't have a fields. Just a structure name. I give a structure name. It doesn't have any fields over here. So just double click. It shows the properties. Do you have any property? No. It's empty. I'm going to create it. So I'm going to create material. It's a key. And what is a core type? So here you are not able to find any data element. Whatever you're seeing in your um, SE11 in this particular core type I'm saying. So it's going to be a string. Okay. And maximum length is 18. Few only I'm going to give. We'll see detail about this little later. So label is material. And what is field name? You can say material number. Okay. You can provide your data element also. We'll see quite later. And but the core type is always whatever they showed over there. So material type, and this is also going to be a string, and it's 4. Okay, always please forget about my spelling mistake. MET type, just give any name, whatever you want. Everything is user defined. Okay, material type. Just save it. It's done. Okay, so structure is ready, but I can't keep a data over here because this is just a structure. So I need some medium to hold it. That medium is entity set. Very simple for your reference, for especially for a ABAP reference, you can keep this as an internal table. Okay, so I have 5 different internal tables. So 5 different entity sets. Depends on the UI application. I can send the information whatever they want. So now I'm going to create an entity set for the structure which I created. So here, what is this? Just give a name. My entity set, right? Yeah, already there. Material entity set and type. What is a type? Entity type. So I have only one. Just map it. Next. I have an entity set, empty entity set. Okay, just click and regenerate it. So every time if you change anything, especially the code or the structure, whatever it is, safer side, regenerate your project. Okay, sometimes it's not reflect, so better you regenerate it. So now what happens? I added one structure and I created an entity set on top of the particular structure. No data has been added. Okay, let's see how it's reflect in my gateway client. This is my service builder. Here it is. Okay, so go back. Sometimes you just better you refresh. Oh, sorry, I just come out of the entire transaction. Just go here, filter. So no changes required in your service. Service is already there. Just refresh it for the safer side and click SAP Gateway Client. and execute it. Now you are able to find the entity set in your XML format. So last time only the URL you are able to see. Now you are able to see material structure as a structure, and this is very important. Material entity set. Okay, this is the entity set where we can send the data, more than one record. So now you are able to see the entity sets as well. Just click it. It will show you what are the entity sets you have. Find internal table, find entity set, it will display all the entity sets. Now the UI application is requested only material information. Maybe another entity set I have a customer details. Another entity set I need some other material informations related to a sales order. So different entity sets. So now UI application is requested only this. It will change over here and click execute. You will get an error. This error is 501. It says not implemented. It's correct. I have a method for the entity set that is not implemented in the data provider class. Don't worry about it. Here I want to show you how the error look like and what are the entity sets they can get it from the entity set option. Okay. So this is a simple OData service. So if you have a system, just play around it. At least you will get some green color like 200 status code, your empty OData to be reflected over here. And same thing you can execute in the browser level as well. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, over here, response in browser. Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay, it should open in the Explorer. I'm not sure why it's not. Let me try. Okay, go back. CV gateway and execute. Oh, okay. I'm not sure because my client is open in the Explorer. Let me just get it resolved for you as well. Okay. So just play around it. If you have any doubts, let me know. We'll see more about OData service in the following videos. Thank you so much for your time.